The new album, and I've got to say, congratulations! It's an absolutely fantastic album.
Thanks, that's great to hear.
So, I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about how this album came into being. This is such different music from what we've heard from you in the past. So, tell us a little bit about that change and how that came about.
Yeah, as you know, I left my old band Killer Talk 2018 in the summer, and after that I had a couple of months off where I just kind of decompressed and just did menial tasks that needed to be done on the house and not really thinking about music much besides listening a lot to it while doing this kind of work. And then just slowly but surely I started getting inspired again, and I would say early 2019 I started playing around with recording software and just writing music just to see if I kind of could. And then pretty shortly after I'd written the first song, which was Kveldulv, and then the second song was Northzar. That's when I kind of figured, okay, I'm gonna make a whole album and I can pull it off. So that was like a nice surprise for me because I hadn't really written music by myself like that before. Like in Kveller Talk, I was focused on the lyrics and vocals, and I was only I was part of writing music there too, but it was mostly the guitarist Bjarte that was in charge of the music there. So it's cool to finally work totally on my own.
What kind of things did you find were inspiring you when you sat down to write your own music? What was that like for you? Was it a way to let out emotions, or what kind of things were actually inspiring you?
Yeah, for me, musically, I was inspired by just music I've listened to for a long time, but like in that time period I just talked about where I had a lot of time off, I was just listening to a lot of old classics again and just really enjoying listening to music again. And there's a lot of old bands like classics like Metallica and Slayer and Merciful Fate, Venom, Battery, of course. Also black metal bands from Sweden and Norway, bands like Dissection, Niflheim, and Dark Throne, and Gorgoroth, Satyricon, and a bunch of other bands.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what provided me with musical inspiration and for Hjelvik, I would say mostly. And yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, where did that love for that music come from? Were you listening to bands like Metallica and Slayer when you were a kid, or did that kind of music come into your life a little bit later on?
Yeah, Metallica is like the first metal band I got into. I think that was the band that everyone in the classroom could agree on when I was a kid, and probably like around the age of 11 or 12 is when I started listening to them. I think the Load and Reload albums were the big thing at the time. And just after that, I got into nu metal for a while. Like Slipknot was my favorite band for a few years, and then I got into bands like Dimmu Borgir and Immortal, that kind of stuff, before discovering like more true Norwegian black metal, I would call it, like Dark Throne and Satyricon, that sort of thing. So, and then it's just kind of piled on from there.
Yeah, we all have that one person in our life that got us into heavy music. Who was that person in your life that first introduced you to those bands?
Yeah, I had an older brother who was 9 years older than me, but he was mostly into grunge. So I never really got into grunge, but I think like my meeting with metal probably came through him, because there was a lot of MTV going on and that kind of stuff. So
yeah. You mentioned a little bit about the writing process of this album, and you said that you got to do it on your own. What was that like for you, going from being in a band where it was a group effort for writing music to suddenly writing music on your own? Did you find that it was difficult at first, or did you find that there was a freedom there that you hadn't experienced before?
Yeah, it was a fresh breeze for me, because especially making like the third Killer Talk album, that was like a collaborative effort where everyone had to sit in the practice space every day. And I just really hate working like that. especially since I'm a singer. So for me, it was mostly just watching the other guys play music, and I was just really bored. So I don't like working like that. I prefer to work on my own, and then I involve the other people when it's time to do that. So that's been a really nice way for me to work, and I just really had fun working on this album, which I haven't had for a while, working on music. And that's the way it shouldn't be a chore writing a new album. It should be fun. So I'm happy I really had fun with this one.
Yeah. How do you feel now about the music coming out to a wider audience? Does that make you really nervous? Or are you excited that people are going to get to hear this new chapter of your life?
Yeah, right now I'm just really excited to get the music out, because I've listened to the album for over a year now. For obvious reasons, it's been a little delayed.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to finally get it out and see what people think. But yeah, when it comes to being nervous, I haven't really been nervous. I always had that motto for myself, like the important thing is to like the music yourself, and then usually other people do too.
Yeah.
Like I think you can tell within yourself if something's good or not,
Yeah.
So I guess I was a little nervous before launching like the first single, North Star, just because I've been away for a while, and it's just kind of exciting to see what people think about this new band. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, this has been a really weird year, and we haven't been able to see live shows or anything like that, but how are you going to go about bringing this music to the stage? Have you got a group of musicians around you that are going to form a core band for you?
Yeah, I'm going to bring out the guys on the album, and now we also have a Norwegian guitarist who joined a few months ago. His name is Remy Nygaard, and he's from a band called Subculture, which are really cool.
Yep.
So I have a great lineup there, and I'm just going to aim at delivering legendary heavy metal shows with lots of smoke and fire. That's what I want to do.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about that process. How did you go about choosing the guys that you wanted to have around you playing the music? Like, was that a difficult process for you, or did you know straight away who you wanted to surround yourself with?
Yeah, it's kind of a long and boring story, but it wasn't difficult to choose people. Like, I just... for the only guy I knew from before, really, who was part of the recording was the drummer Kevin Foley, and him I met while he was the drummer for Abbott, and I had a really good impression of him, and really liked his work on the first Abbott album, so I just thought of him when we needed a drummer, and luckily he was looking for new bands to work with, so that was just great timing.
Yep.
And when it comes to the guitarist Rob Steinway, he's American, and when I knew we were recording in Portland, I wanted someone close by there, and luckily he was available, and I knew him from the band Skeletor, which is a really great 80s type heavy metal band. So I knew he was a great guitarist, so I just reached out to him, and luckily he was on board right away. And the bass player came on through the drummer. He's a friend of his, and they played together before, so he was recommended by him, and he did an awesome job on the album as well.
Awesome. So you mentioned before about Smoke and Fire. What else can we expect from the live shows? Is this going to be like the live shows that we grew up watching in the 1990s?
I am more hoping that it's going to be like heavy metal shows from the 80s. That's what I want to channel.
Yep.
But so I'm going to do that. And of course, I'll be playing a few Trailer Talk songs as well, in case people are wondering. So.
Awesome. And is there any chance that we might see you in Australia? Because at the moment, we look like we might be one of the first countries in the world that might be able to open back up to live shows, because our state now has been COVID-free for almost 20 days. So is there a chance that we might see you guys in Australia?
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully you guys aren't going to keep the borders shut then once you are COVID-free, but that might be the best thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would love to come back to Australia, because I think it's 7 years now since the last time we played there, so with my old band. And yeah, it's just high time to come back to Australia and play some shows. So I can't wait for that to happen. Hopefully we can make something happen either next year or 2022. So
definitely. Yeah. What has this quarantine period been like for you there? Have you found this to be a period where you've been able to sit down and work on new music, or have you kind of used this time to recharge the batteries for when everything does reopen?
Yeah, I've been recharging my batteries since I left my old band, I would say. So it's kind of weird because with the Corona thing happening, it's just kind of been a prolonging of that period. But it's been kind of a good thing and a bad thing in the way that it's allowed us for some more time to work on the release and putting it out there. And then because there's lots of things to set up since it's a new band and you have to do everything from scratch. So it would be kind of stressful if we had to get ready for tour at the same time in the midst of releasing the album, especially since we have our own record label in Norway too. There's some extra work with that.
Definitely.
But sorry, I was going to say, right now I'm really hoping that the Corona situation is going to be over and that it's going to be possible to tour soon. So I'm really ready for that.
Definitely, yeah. I was going to ask about the record label. Tell us a little bit about that and what it's been like setting up your own record label.
Yeah, that's been great. We're signed with Nuclear Blast for the rest of the world, but in Norway we have our own record label. Just the idea was actually to sign with a Norwegian label just for Norway, but then in the process of talking to a few labels, then we just figured out, my wife and I, who is also the manager, that we could do it ourselves just as well. And yeah, make some extra money that way instead of giving it to an unnecessary third party. So it's been a lot of fun and learning a lot of things with setting up the release that way, because there's lots of more tasks, but it's been great. And it's just nice to do things exactly the way you want it. And that's just something I keep finding out is that if you want something done right, you usually have to do it yourself. So
definitely.
That's cool.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I guess to finish up, is there anything you would like to say to our listeners out there before they get a chance to sit down and listen to this fantastic album?
Yeah, I hope if you like anything I've done before, whether it's my old black metal band HJELVIK or Kveller Talk, I think there's going to be lots of stuff for you to love on my new album, HJELVIK Welcome to Hell. And yeah, I would just appreciate any support you can give me by buying the album or merch or whatever. So that would be great, especially in these trying times. And can't wait to make it down to Australia.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for chatting to us tonight, and we cannot wait to see Hjelvik in Australia sometime soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Definitely. All right, I'll let you go. Have a great day, but hopefully we get to see you soon.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Awesome.
Hey, it was great to talk to you.
Definitely, mate. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.